Let's keep in mind one thing. So everybody's already memorized the basic mudari' form. Remember, the mudari' is where we're making all of these other variations from last week. Are we recording already?
Yes.
Okay.
Just kidding. Sorry.
As I'm messing with the buttons. I don't want to have to repeat it again, you know? Like, so, when it comes to the, last week we did alanna with the emphasis, the lam of emphasis, the noon of emphasis. I still have to hear it read from you, brothers. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to explain amr today. Amr means command. Now, when we're commanding someone, we usually command someone directly. A command is usually direct. For example, I tell somebody, sit down. Or I tell somebody, eat. Or I tell somebody, write. Or I tell somebody, etc. I tell them to do some action. That is a command. So that means that command, the actual command, original command, basic command, is always going to be in which, is going to be taken from which six? Is going to be taken from the second person, good, hadir. Is going to be taken from the hadir sighas. So let's take the first of the six here. That's why in the amr bab, we only have these six sighas. The direct amr I'm talking about. We're going to do another kind of amr, which is an indirect amr. That's more of a suggestion. It's like when you're telling someone, he should do this. Because you can't command him directly. Or you could say that he must do this. But now, this is the direct command, this is the original, this is the basic form of the command. So we're going to take these six and let's transfer them down here. But before we transfer them down here, let's take the first one and see that how can we turn it into a command. So in order for a command, for it to be turned into a command, first you take out the alamatul mudari', the alif, ta, ya, or noon that's in the beginning of the verb. Take it out. You have to remove that first. Okay, so step number one is going to be what? Take out the alamatul mudari', the symbol of mudari'. We already said the symbol of mudari' is these huruf in the beginning, the ya, ta, alif, and nun. Atain. Remember we talked about it as being atain. So first thing we do is we take out the alamatul mudari'. So let's take this word here, the first one, and let's work with this an example on this side of the board. So let's say we have taf'alu, right? No, I don't know how the camera angle is, if it's going to be able to see all of that. We can move the thing like this. Now in taf'alu, let's follow this first step, and what do? Let's take out the, what are we going to take out? We're going to take out the ta. So what are we left with? Huh? What? Can somebody read that for me?
No, I can't read it.
No.
Good.
No.
You
You can't read it because it's a sukoon in the
You have to have a desert.
In Arabic, an Arabic word cannot start with a sukoon. In Arabic, right? You'll have to add some haraka. That's why usually they add a alif, right? In the beginning. It's called a hamza wasli. So it became this. Alu. Wrong, because you're reading the fa with a fatha. There's no fatha here. Sukoon. Huh?
No.
There's no way to pronounce it. There's no way to pronounce it. So so that's why we have to go to step number 2. We have to go to step number 2. In order to pronounce this, what do?
We're going to need a cameraman because you keep moving from side to side.
Alright.
I'll just do this way. So
Just leave it there. I think it's fine.
Either you
This way is
add,
better. This one's better. This way is better.
either you add a letter in front of
Yeah,
fa, or change.
So what letter should we add in front of the fa?
Alif.
Good. We're going to call it a hamza because it's going to be mutaharrik, okay? So we add a hamza. So now we can say if'al or uf'ul. But since this is not madmum, we'll just say if'al for now, okay? So the second thing we do is we add the hamza of amr. Let's write it in English. Hamzatul amr, okay? Of amr or command. Amr means command. So we take out that alamatul mubarak from the beginning, the ta. Now we're back to the basic verb. Remember we said in the very beginning of this course, or you can say this classes, that the very basic form of the verb is always the fa, ayn, lam. We came down to that very basic again. Now in order to pronounce it, we have no way of pronouncing because we took out the alamatul mubarak. So now we have to add this hamza in the beginning. That hamza is called hamzatul amr. That is now going to be the hamza of command. Now we know that this is a command, but we're not done yet. Step number 3. We still have one more step left. Step number 3 is to give it a jazm at the end. The last letter will be given a sukoon. It will be given a sukoon. Okay? It will be given a sukoon. Sukoon, when we're talking in, let's say in the terminology of tarkib and in nahwu, this is called a jazm. All verbs, no verb changes in the Arabic language except for the mudari'. There's certain, that's the only verb category that actually changes because of the context where it is inside of a sentence. So anyway, without going into nahwu, sticking to sarf, we'll just take out the last haraka, which was a dhamma, and replace that with a sukoon. Sukoon is going to be, the reason is because every amr ends on a sukoon. It has to be what we call majzoom. It has to end abruptly, sharply. Right? It's just the nature of amr for it to be quick. Right? If you want to tell somebody stop, it can't be a long word, especially if, you understand what I'm saying. It has to be abrupt. So the third thing we do is that we will make, or let's say give, the last letter, and just for those who are watching on the camera, as we get lower and lower in the board, the handwriting gets sloppier. So we will give the last letter a sukoon. Okay? Sukoon just means lack of haraka. Haraka means movement, sukoon means stillness. Okay? So now we're left with this verb here, if'al. If'al. That's the first one. But look, if we look at all of the others here, what do we notice about all of them? They all have a noon at the end. This one has a noon, this one has a noon, this one has a noon, and this one has a noon. What did we call, this one also has a noon, but this noon is special, remember? Let's put a box around it. That's a special noon. What was that noon? Why is that one special? Because it's the noon of Jama' Mu'annath. There's two in the Bab. There's this one here, and there's this one here. These two, you can't do anything with it. They're always going to be there. There's no way of touching those. But the rest of these noons, remember we discussed these one time before, in the last class before as well. These are called noonul i'rab, or noon i'rabi, sometimes they say. Noonul i'rab means that when you change i'rab, it falls off. So remember when we added lan in the beginning, all of those noons dropped. When we added lam in the beginning, all of those noons also dropped. By the way, the effect of lam is the same effect of amr. So whatever lam did to the verb, remember when we added a lam, it gave sukoon to the end and it dropped all the noonul i'rabs. In the same way for amr is going to give a sukoon to the end of any verb that does not have a noonul i'rab, and all the ones that do have noonul i'rab, it will drop those noonul i'rabs. So now we have our final version. We take these 6 down here and we apply these 3 steps. We will give the last letter a sukoon or drop its noonul i'rab. Maybe in English a little strange. Noonul i'rab. Noonul i'rab, if it has one, let's put it like that. If it has one. So these are the 3 steps. You take it, the first thing you're going to do is drop the alamat al-mudari'. Second step is you add your hamza al-amr. Third step is give the last letter a sukoon if it doesn't have a nun al-i'rab. But if it has a nun al-i'rab, drop the nun al-i'rab. Okay. Let's take these 6 hadir sighas and now let's apply it. Let's write it down here on this side of the board.
If you drop the noon al-Arab, do you still give a sukoon to the last letter?
No, the dropping of the noon is equivalent to giving sukoon to the last letter.
Okay.
Right? Because the sukoon itself and the dropping of the noon al-i'rab, both of these are due to another process actually, the process of the verb being in a majzoom state, you say, in a majzoom state. So, let's now write it. The first word is, it was taf'alu is going to become what?
If'al.
If'al. Good. If'al. What's the second one going to become?
If'ala.
If'ala. Good. Because we're going to drop the noon. We dropped it. If'ala. What's the third one going to become?
If'alu.
Good. If'alu. What's the fourth one going to become?
If'ali.
If'ali. Good. If'ali. What's the fifth one going to become? It's
If'ala.
going to be the same basically.
Right.
If'ala. And then the last one?
Would be If'alna.
If'alna. Very good. If'alna. That noon is not a noon al-i'rab. That's the noon of what we call noon jama' mu'annath. It is the noon of the feminine plural. So if'alna. If'alna. Now, one thing to keep in mind. These are your 6 sighas for what we call amr hadir. Amr hadir. One thing to keep in mind. The hamza here has a kasra. It will have a kasra if the ayn has a fatha or a kasra. So if'al, right? But in the case where the aynul kalima, the ayn has a dhamma, the hamza will have a dhamma also. Right? So we can write another set here where the ayn kalima, for example, if you take an example of a verb where the aynul kalima has a dhamma. Give me an example, anybody? Remember an example? Nasara, Yansuru. So Yansuru, like he mentioned, Yansuru coming to the hadir sighas is Tansuru. Now the Ainul Kalima has a Dhamma. So we can't say Insur. We will say what? Unsur. We won't say Fil. We will say Unsur. This is, the example of this is like Isma. Right? If we write an example of this, it'll be Isma. Isma. Listen. That's what it means. I'm not saying listen, but that's what it means. Isma. Isma'a. Right? And? Oh. Isma'u. Okay? You always put a alif here at the end here also when it's plural. And you drop the nun out. So Isma'u. Then we have
Isma'i.
Isma'i. Isma'a. And Isma'na. Good. This is an example of this, right? But now, what if we have a verb which is madmum al-ayn? So we're not going to be saying I, we're going to be saying what? U. So isma will become what? Let's write our counter example on this side, okay? We will have, this one will become what? What will we give the hamza here?
Damut.
A dhamma. Good. We will give it a u. Unsur. Then it will get what here?
Unsuru.
Unsura.
Unsura.
Unsura. Good. And we'll have what?
Unsuru.
Everything else will be the same.
Unsuru.
Unsuru. And then on this side here we get what?
Unsuri.
Unsuri. Good. And then we have one here. Unsura, very good. And
Unsurna.
Unsurna,
Surna.
good. There we go. So this is following, the ones in the middle are following this chart up here. But I'll give you the examples on the sides of when the ayn al-kalima is madmum. What if the ayn al-kalima is maksur? It has a kasra. Then it will follow the same one, it will follow this one. So now going back to the book, in the book you can memorize your amr gardans. It's only 6 sifas. If'al, if'ala, if'alu, if'ali, if'ala, if'alna. It's very simple. It's very simple. We're going to do separate. For the ghaib sighas, we're going to have a separate type of command. Okay?
What is the difference between if'al and if'al?
The difference between, sorry, say it?
If'al
Uh-huh.
and if'alu.
If'al, if'alu. One is singular, one is plural.
If'al is plural.
It's plural. It's plural. Because if you remember in the charts, the way we work is from singular, double, plural. Singular, double, plural. Masculine, feminine.
For example, like some words start ta,
Mhm.
so how you make harder to amr?
Some words start with tha.
For example, tawbah,
Tawbah. Oh, like tubu.
to
Oh, so now see, tawbah, it is not a sahih verb. So we're only worried about sahih verbs right now. Sahih means it doesn't have a harf illa, it doesn't have a alif, it doesn't have a muda'af, it doesn't have any of those in it. The tubu, taba, yatubu actually has a harf illa in the middle. There's a waw in the middle. So we're not dealing with those verbs right now. First we're going to learn the ones that are sahih, and then when we get to the mu'tal verbs, or the verbs that have an illa, huruf illa, which is alif, waw, ya, or even a hamza, which we call mahmuz, or harf mushaddad, which we call muda'af. So anytime it will have any of those things, those are all going to be special cases. We're going to do that in the second part of the book. Right now we're doing the first part of the book. This is the easy part.
That was easy.
This is the easy part. If you're finding this hard, then you might want to rethink about it. But no, it's good. But this is the 3 steps, inshallah. Memorize the bab here, and inshallah we'll move forward from there. Next week I'll listen to the emphasis ones, the bab, la yaf'alanna. Anybody want to read it now? I gave you a big excuse. Or you want to turn the camera off first? Okay, no problem. So once we have the camera on, then I'll bring out the stick and you can... So, طيب سبحان الله وبحمده سبحان الله وبحمده